Caloroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. This is a summer Sunday edition. I hope you checked out yesterday my hour-long one with Jason Zinneman. Really enjoyed that. So go listen to that. Happy Father's Day, by the way, everybody. So for me, this is a weekend pre-tape, so I could take a weekend off. Paste Magazine has the 10 best comedy specials of 2024 so far. Their list: Jacqueline Novak's Get on Your Knees. They say this is the smartest special about favors you'll likely see in your lifetime. I forgot that one happened. I don't have it on my best of list. Number 9, Ian Abramson's The Heist. Paste writes, one of Abramson's greatest strengths is his sheer commitment. It comes through in his physical comedy, as Abramson does a full-body impression of a match being lit or an umbrella turning inside out. His devotion to getting a laugh, no matter what the cost, becomes wholly apparent in the, this is a spoiler. In the spoiler. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Paste isn't sharing where these things are. Come on, Paste. You can find it, looks like you got to buy it on Comedy Dynamics. It's available also on Amazon or Apple. Well, that's why I haven't seen it. Is it on YouTube? It is on YouTube Shorts, looks like, as 13 cuts. I'm not going to do that. That's just going to be ads. I'll wait. Number 8, Kate Willett's Loopholes. I don't think I've even heard of this one. Let's see. Paste writes, how do you stay true to yourself when there's just like all these people and all these forces constantly asking you to compromise? Kate Willett entreats the audience near the end of her stand-up special Loopholes. In context, she's talking about an unsatisfying relationship with a sexist partner, but the sentiment remains relevant for the entirety of the set. That one also, Comedy Dynamics, Prime Video, and Apple TV. That's why I haven't seen it. Which brings up an interesting point, right? Like, artists need to get paid. Totally get it. Totally respect it. From the consumer standpoint, my biggest resource is time, and I don't have time. And when I have time, there's 10 trillion comedy specials I can watch. So for me to go deep dive, it's not even about the money. It's just about the, wait, you want me to buy a special when I can just hit click? And, I know what my week was like. I doubt that by the time you hear this, I've watched Hannah yet. You've heard me recently. It took me a week or two to watch 2 specials, and I host this podcast, right? I'm trying to stay hip to these things, but there's just not enough hours in the day. So back to back sounds like good specials. Haven't seen them, but that's why I haven't seen them. Very, very interesting. And I don't have a solution there for you. Next up, Dimitri Martin's Dimitri Deconstructed. That is on my list, which I'll share with you in a minute. Kyle Kinane's Dirt Nap. Fantastic. That has a chunk about Fast and the Furious that I think is an all-timer. Rami Youssef's More Feelings. That not on my list. I didn't like how it was shot. They have at number 4, Dan Licata's For the Boys. That just came out like a week or so ago. I haven't gotten to that one. They're right. Licata performs as a heightened, a blustering version of himself, his persona coming across like a stoner friend of AJ Soprano's who never quite grew up. Number 3, Jenny Slate's Seasoned Professional. I feel like I put eyes on that, and I can't tell you a thing about it. Paste writes, most of Seasoned Professional is loosely structured around the birth of Slate's daughter, which is used as a jumping off point for tangents about meeting her now husband, disastrous diarrhea from years past, and a cross-country pandemic road trip. I have no memory of that. Number 2, they have Rory Scovel's Religion, Sex, and a Few Things in Between. That one is on Max. Trying to remember that one too. Did I put eyes on that and get bored with that pretty quickly? I'm not trying to be difficult here. It just shows you there's so many. All right, Paste, what do you got for number 1? Connor O'Malley, Stand-Up Solutions. Wow, all right. For Stand-Up Solutions, O'Malley dons a blue polo and khakis as he embodies Richard Eagleton, a father and husband who's created the first ever AI-powered comedian Ken, Kinetic Emotional Neural Network. And it looks like this one is out on YouTube. I'm just waiting for the YouTube page to load. Paste Magazine, I respect the heck out of your list because you clearly worked harder at it than I do. So I'm going to say good list, even though I haven't seen 5 of the specials. And yes, Stand-Up Solutions is here. It looks like it came out 4 weeks ago by the time you're hearing this. 394,000 views. And an hour 4 plus commercials. Seems a little long, but okay, Paste Magazine. All right, Johnny Mac Comedy Hotshot, what's your list so far? I have 14 on my list. I'll go top to bottom. The best thing of the year is the Roast of Tom Brady. Number 2, Dave Attell's Hot Cross Buns. That is a master showing you how it's done, and it's like 37 minutes. Crush and go home. 3, Triumph, You Lucky Bastards. That's out on YouTube. That I thought was going to be tough to beat, and Attell did, and Brady did, but Triumph is fantastic. David Cross, Worst Daddy in the World, also on YouTube, number 4, and I have in parentheses here, Laughed, which if you heard yesterday, me talking about the Emperor of Rome syndrome, where I don't laugh at comedians, I analyze comedy because I'm a psychopath apparently, but David Cross got me to laugh. Number 5, Dusty Slay on Netflix. 6, Kyle Kinane, YouTube. 7, Dimitri Martin, that one's on Netflix, hilarious. 8, Jimmy Carr's Natural Born Killer. 9, Cat Williams' Woke Folk. 10, Hannah Gatsby's Gender Agenda, which was several comedians, but a good special. 11, Brian Simpson, Live from the Mothership on Netflix. 12, Tig Notaro on Amazon. 13, Taylor Tomlinson on Netflix. I think she could back off on the F-bombs is my note. And 14, Rachel Feinstein's Netflix. Also, somewhere on this list is not stand-up, but Unfrosted is fantastic. Not on my list, Joe Coy, I wrote All Energy, No Jokes. Rami, didn't like the director. Pete Davidson, I wrote Terrible, Fake Laughs, ? Jackie Novak, I lasted 4 minutes, I wrote. I know, there's a joke in there, stop. Deacon Mike, you made that joke. Come on, Deacon Mike. Collar up. Kevin James, Irregardless, lasted 7 minutes. Rory Scovel. Oh, that's right. Rory Scovel, I flagged. I thought the laughter, perhaps, possibly, maybe, I'm probably crazy. You know, John, you're totally wrong about this. There's no way somebody added in fake laughter to that special. That would be a terrible thing to accuse anyone of, and I'm definitely not accusing anyone of it. I did see Rory Scovel's special, yes. Donnell Rawlings was on Netflix back in February, didn't make the list. Jenny Slate in February on Amazon didn't make the list. Steve Trevino in March, not on the list. And Neil Brennan, I wrote Material was good, but again, you know, I don't want to accuse anyone of adding fake laughs to anything because comedians definitely don't do that. That would be a terrible thing to do and a worst thing to accuse anyone of. So clearly Neil didn't do that. So I don't know who wrote those words in my document. I got to find out who's been logging into my computer and adding things to my notes because I'm definitely not saying that, but it did not make my list. The New York Times wrote a large piece about crowd work. Ethan Hall is a 30-year-old comedian based in New York City who says, my sense is that most of us kind of resent it. Another New York comedian, Nick Callis, said, the reason you see so much crowd work is because there's no barrier to entry for crowd work. I think if you're funny and you get on stage, you ask a question, have a good retort, or somebody heckles you and you have a witty comeback, then there you go, you have content. But material and content are very different. Abby Govenden is 27 and part of a younger generation of comedians who have used social media to expand their audiences. Gabby says, I think a lot of comedians are very allergic to changes in the medium, and I get it, especially the ones who've been honing their craft for 3 or 4 decades, only to be upstaged by some people in their 20s who are TikTok famous. I see, you're calling us old. Gabby Bryan, performing in New York City in April, said, I'd rather us all talk to this heckler and make a giant group joke out of it than do my jokes that I've written. Todd Barry did the crowd work tour back in 2014. He says now comics are going on tour with a camera crew like every show and setting up audience mics. And to me, that takes the fun out of it. But I also understand you can get some really good content. Vanessa Jackson, 31-year-old comic and a writer for SNL, says the younger crowds, I think, enjoy authentic content more than something that's crafted. Gianmarco Ceresi says to be a stand-up comedian in today's world, you have to be a content machine. Matt Rife says, I don't think a lot of comics realize you still have to have a full show. Even if I post all my crowd work on social media, I only do like 10 minutes of crowd work per show. Sam Morrell has noticed other comedians trying to guide their shows to generate clips and says, they don't really work. You need to have an act. Amen, Sam. Mo Welch said, I felt wrong just to do my jokes. It felt like the crowd wanted you to talk to them. Gabby Bryan says there's a whole new wave of audiences coming in from TikTok who've never watched comedy in the first place. The Washington Post has been featuring DC-based comedians. Dom Rivera grew up in Camden, New Jersey, and writes jokes about his 3 kids. Dom says, I'm a storyteller at heart. He tells jokes about how an anxious 45-year-old Puerto Rican dad/husband sees life and how it makes him feel. Best thing about the DC comedy scene, that he gets to do comedy in it. The crowds are smart and amazing. If you're funny here, you can be funny anywhere. And that is your comedy news for today. If you'd like these things ad-free, go to caloroga.com/plus, $4.99 a month. Get rid of those pesky commercials. Come on, do it. Great way to support the show. See you tomorrow.